Welcome to the Pro Mindset Podcast. Join me, Craig Domann, as I interview both current and former NFL players, coaches, front office, and sports personalities as we dive into the mindsets, beliefs, headspace, and lifestyles that drive their successful careers.
Kevin, welcome to Pro Mindset.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Did you ever think you would be on Pro Mindset?
Not at all, man. Not at all.
Not in your wildest dreams.
I mean,
so the back channel, the back info on this is Kevin used to work with us and was one of our superstars. And, we had to brainstorm on guests and things like that. And I don't think Kevin ever thought he would be a guest, but he's a guest today for a very special reason. So Kevin, let's just share with the audience, why do you think you're a guest today?
It's a good question, but I think it's probably because I like to do hard things, and I've done a few hard things recently that have required what I would think is a pro mindset, even though I'm not considered a professional in those spaces. But I just think, doing hard things has brought me here.
Well, here's why you're here. I don't know anybody else on the planet in my sphere of people that would ever even think about, let alone do, 100-mile race.
Yeah.
So you effectively, my math's a little off here, but it's almost like 4 marathons.
Yeah.
So share with the audience, you competed in the 100-mile race here in the last month or so. Share with everybody what it is.
Yeah.
How many started, how many finished, where you finished, how long it took you, those types of things.
For sure. Yeah. So I recently did the Leadville 100 trail race, which is a 100-mile trail race that starts and ends in Leadville, Colorado. Average elevation's above 10,000 feet. You go up to 13-ish and as low as like 9.8. 830 some people, I think, started this year. The race was middle of August. 830 people started. About 400 finished. I finished 56th out of those finishers and completed the race in 24 hours, 15 minutes, and 3 seconds. So you've got 30 hours in total to do it. Most people finish between 26 and 30 hours, but kind of had a goal from the beginning to go sub 25 and was able to crush that goal. So it's a super fun race, a trail race, 100 miles on trails up in the beautiful mountains of Colorado at high country. So high elevation, a lot of fun, beautiful course. Yeah, that's the race.
I wrote this down, but I want to make sure I'm accurate. 24 hours, 15 minutes, and 3 seconds.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So I have a hard time, 2 things on this. I have a hard time staying awake for 24 hours, let alone running for 24 hours.
For
through
sure.
Rivers and roads and everything else. But I think those are going to be my new lottery numbers.
240-1503. That's not bad. I should think about doing that.
Something like that, man. It's like, what date did you do that on? August what?
That was
get this
August.
Down.
Well, it's over 2 days, August 19th and 20th, this last 2023. Yeah.
Okay, those are my lottery numbers. Okay, so share with everybody how long it took you, football players spend the off season recovering, rehabbing, building up their bodies, working on their mind, working on their basically their mental headspace. But they typically, only spend about 3 or 4 months getting ready, but it's like a couple hours a day. And I can't imagine you can go from 0 to 100. So there's got to be a buildup.
Yeah.
Share with everybody, what is the buildup? I mean, what were the markers? How many months out? When did you have to do what? Just so that people understand that you just didn't show up on August 8th, 19th, and 20th and run for 24 hours.
Yeah, no, it definitely was a huge lead-in process. I had a friend who competed in the race the year before, so back in 2022, and he had asked me to be a pacer for him. So in the race, starting at mile 62, you're allowed to have somebody else to run with you. He had asked me January of 22 if I wanted to be a pacer for him, and I was like, absolutely, yes, I'm in for that. It's a little less of a commitment than doing the full 100. I did, however, commit to at that point doing his training with him So we were in different cities, but I wanted to see how his training worked. If it worked, if there were places in it that we noticed that he wasn't doing enough or was doing too much. And so I did his whole training plan with him, January of 22 through August. Went to the race.
You cheated. You
I didn't
prepared
cheat.
for it 2 times in 22 and 23.
But in 2022, he dropped out at 50 miles, which was a huge bummer for all of us.
Oh my gosh. So you didn't even get to be a pacer.
Didn't even get to do my job, but it showed both of us. We were very naive going into this, thinking that we had this basically a 0 to 100 mile training plan. So it was very, very minimal, not a lot of elevation gain. Whereas in Leadville, you've got 16,000 feet of elevation gain throughout the whole race. And so we weren't doing any specific training to that, just thinking that it would work. And he had some injuries and some other things that popped up that prevented him from doing some training. But we kind of knew going into it, hey, I don't know if we're there, if we have enough. Let's see what happens. And what happened. So we learned from that. The goal was for him to finish, obviously, and then to help me as a pacer this year. But we both wanted to do the race, right? He had failed to complete it the first time, wanted to come back for revenge per se. And then I was always kind of having my eyes on this year to do it. So right after the race, I started doing a lot of research online, finding different coaches, started interviewing a few coaches, ended up hiring a coach who's done the race before, had done it as fast as I wanted to do it. Seemed like he had a lot of good knowledge to share, and we also just clicked really well. And we started working together in September of 22, and we worked together all the way through the race. So the big markers, we really started hitting the ground running per se, but we hit the ground hard in the fall to build a good base, and then started a couple specific training blocks to lead into 2 races. So the 100 was the pinnacle. It's what the goal at the beginning was. We knew that we needed to do something leading into that, another race to get some race experience, to know what it's like to be moving for longer than 10, 12 hours. And so we did a 100-kilometer race in June, which is 62 miles. So about 10 weeks before the 100-mile race, we did another big race, 62 miles, just to kind of prep the body, see how I'm going to feel after. I'd never run further than 30 miles at one time. So it was good to see what the body would do to respond after that. And so,
Kevin, why did you run 30 miles?
Well, that was our peak training. It was actually 33 miles. It was our peak training day when I trained with my buddy Alec in 2022 for his race. So
okay. So here's my question then. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's all good.
Pre 2022.
Yeah. What's
the longest you ran in miles?
Yeah, that would have been a marathon, but it was a part of the Ironman triathlon that I was training for when I was working with you guys. So that was at the tail end of a 2.4 mile swim and a 112 mile bike, but I'd never done anything further than that before.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to bounce around on you. You're going to think I'm ADHD, which my kids are, so I must be or something. So let's kind of go through. What I see is I'm going to break down your race into a multitude of parts.
Sweet.
The first one is your plan. You know, it's your coaching plan that you got from your coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But what is infused in that is your purpose. It's not just, okay, you got a piece of paper or you've got your little on your phone, you've got, hey, this is what I'm supposed to do today. How far I'm supposed to run. At what pace. But there's also a mental element. Because if you didn't have the mental element, you wouldn't have finished.
For sure.
You just shared that there was like 50% or more failure rate in terms of how many people started and how many people finished this year with you.
Yep.
And you have to have a purpose going in, but you also have to live your purpose a step at a time when you're running 100 miles.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, what was your purpose?
Yeah, man. I think that it's really easy to define who you are when life is grand, when things are going well, when things are easy. It's easy to say who it is you are, what you stand for. I think it's more telling when your back's against a wall or life's beating you up a little bit, life's hard. It's more telling in that space how you respond to those situations and really defines who you are. And so for me, a lot of the decisions and the things that I do in my life are, how can I be put in a position where I'm pushed up against a wall, or not necessarily trying to make my life harder, but putting myself in uncomfortable situations so that I can see, okay, who am I in that moment, and who can I train, the plan that I put into place, like what decisions can I make every day leading into an event, leading into anything that's going to affect the end goal. So in this case, it was running every day or doing the training plan that my coach had for me. I think that is the same for my time in the Word or for my time investing in relationships. They're just small daily decisions that impact the end goal so greatly. So I like to do hard things, but it's because it puts me in an uncomfortable position and then allows me to define who I am when I'm in that position.
Okay, so this is the 100-mile question. Who are you now that you didn't know you were before you did it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think there's pieces to it that I think, having done hard things before, I was very confident. One, I was confident in the things I'd done before, but after the 100-kilometer race, went into that having a guess of what I might be able to do time wise, crushed that goal by more than an hour, and came out of it with full confidence in my coach, knowing that we still had 10 weeks to go training into the 100-miler. So I had done these things before that gave me a whole lot of confidence in this 100-mile race. I think what I come out of on the other side is maybe not like a huge revelation, because I feel like I've had these revelations before, but it's a continued knowledge of when when stuff goes south. Probably not supposed to cuss, but when things go south, what do you do? Do you respond in a way that's going to either positively impact the situation or let the situation impact you and just continue to beat you down and send you into this rabbit hole? Courtney DeWalter, she's an incredible female ultra runner, top of the class in like both male and female. She's smashing records all the time. And she talks about how she loves to, people talk about the pain cave, getting in the pain cave. It could be when you're working out in a relationship, whatever. But when when it's really hard and you got to gut it out, and she wants to race there. She doesn't want to avoid it. She wants to get there as soon as she can so that she can start chiseling away at that cave and making it bigger. And so I think I was able to make my pain cave bigger physically, but also emotionally, spiritually, where I know in the future when I'm in a tough spot, I've done these hard things before. I can get through it. It's not going to be something that kills me.
Okay, so you're a man of faith. What kind of spiritual revelation did you have during the course of the race?
Yeah, man. I think I feel most connected to the Lord when I'm outside, and specifically when I'm moving outside on trails. There's something special about the trees passing by, the wind blowing, the noises, no cars, seeing some other people every now and then, but it's relatively quiet. I don't really ever run with music when I'm in the trails. It's where I pray the most. It's where I feel most connected to the Lord. It's where I process through a lot of my emotions, probably the most. So it was a really beautiful time to spend with God in that sense. And then also just to like a whole lot of gratitude throughout the whole race. 20 miles in, the sun's risen at that point. It's a beautiful morning. The trees are all lit up. The mountains are lit up. You can see the people who are all supporting their racers. And there's just a lot of gratitude that came in those spaces for the specific day, but then a lot of reflection on the training that had been done, the work that had been put in. So it was just a great day of time in my favorite spot where I feel closest to God.
Okay, so we didn't talk about, and I know this from checking it out. You started at 4 a.m.
Yeah, early.
and you finished at 4 a.m.
4:15, yes, sir.
The only people up at 4 a.m. are people that are going to work for 5 o'clock shift or people that are coming home from the bars.
That's true. It's true.
Okay, so what is it like starting the biggest race of your life when it's jet black?
Yeah,
It's you and you. It's you and you. I mean, it's like you can't see.
for sure.
You probably have one of those lights on your head.
You got a headlamp on. It's you and you for sure. Like the mental space is like, it has to be so much that it has to be, I'm the only person here. It doesn't matter how these people around me go out, because you get around 800 other people who've been training for a while for this. You get amped up, you go out too fast. And I think that's honestly a big reason why a lot of people don't end up finishing the race. But you have to be I'm going to race my race. It doesn't matter what Joe Schmo in front of me is running or how fast he's going. I need to reel it in and do what I have planned to do. But man, I'll tell you that starting in the dark, seeing a full sun cycle happen, sun comes up, it's beautiful, heat of the day, it gets hot in the afternoon, starts to cool off in the evening, sunset's beautiful, then it's getting dark, and then it's dark again, was just like something I'd never really experienced. You experience it sometimes if you drive to work in the dark, work a full day, come home and it's dark, and then go to bed. But to be awake for that whole second night was just a wild experience. I think there was a period from when I woke up for the race to when I finally went to bed the next day was like 38 hours. So like you said, I haven't been up for 24 hours since college, probably since pulling an all-nighter in college. And it absolutely smacked me. The last 5 hours of the race, and we can talk about the race later, but the last 5 hours, I was like, I'm so sick of moving. I've been standing up, let alone moving my feet for 19, 20 hours now. Like, I'm sick of this. But that full sun cycle, it was beautiful, but also really tough. But I knew as soon as the sun went down on that second night, the goal was to beat the sun up. That was kind of a goal, a mantra in my head, beat the sun up. Like, I didn't want to see the sunrise on the second day. You've already seen the sunrise once. I was like, I don't want to see this rise again and still be in this race. Like, I want to be done, and not dropped out done, but across the finish line done. So it was a lot of motivation for me going into the evening, into the dark at that point.
Okay, so I'm just doing some math in my head, and that can be dangerous. But if you're going 100 miles in roughly, let's just say 25 hours instead of 24.
Yep.
You are using 1/4 of 1% of your energy every mile. And you're also using 4% of your energy every hour.
Sure.
So if you would describe this, I know it's not a flat line. I know it's not straight.
Yeah.
And what you just alluded to was the fact that a lot of people might have used, let's say 10% of their energy in the first couple miles, and they got, 97 miles to go, and they've got 70% to go.
Yeah.
So my question to you is it a game? And I'm just guessing. It's a pace game.
Yeah.
But it's also, you have to find new sources of energy as you go. Because if you only have like when you're at the starting line, if you have 100% right now, you're not going to make it. Along the road, you got to pick up energy.
Yeah.
How did you do that, if you did?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a handful of things here, and I think we looked at it as you have so many matches that you get to burn before you're out of matches and you can't light the fire anymore. A couple of those matches are super just easy logistical things. I could see my crew, so people that I had with me to supply nutrition and things like that, every 13 miles or so. So I'd have a good 2 to 3 hours where I'd be on my own, and I had 2 soft flasks full of electrolytes and water on my vest. I had handheld water bottles. I had snacks in my vest, goos, waffles, all the things. So nutrition's a big piece of that. And then two, caffeine was something I had held off on and knew would be a really big help at some point. A lot of people, it's the first thing they do in the morning. They grab coffee, they get out the door. It's a lot of times the same thing for people in these races. They get coffee so that they're alert, ready to go at the race start. I'm not really a coffee guy or a caffeine guy, but I knew that if I could prolong deep into the race how long it took for me to start taking caffeine, that when I did start taking it, it would be a huge boost. It would give me, I don't know, 5, 10, 15% more in my tank once I took that.
Kevin, you needed caffeine to stay awake.
Yeah, and I took it. I took it, right? So I went to bed the night before at like 7:30, slept decent until about 1:30 in the morning, and then pushed caffeine off until I think it was probably 6 or 7 in the evening before I took a Red Bull for the first time. And that's like, I didn't have caffeine for 2 weeks leading into the race so that it would have an even bigger effect in the race. But at 62-ish miles, I think is when I took my first Red Bull, and it lifted me out of the dumps. Like, I wasn't in the dumps per se, but it gave me this new boost of energy. Like, man, I can do anything. Let's go. It gave me a new motivation. So it was another match that I could burn, right? There's other matches a lot of people use. People put music in partway during the race. I thought about doing that, and then I honestly forgot to ask my crew for it and was a mile away from them. So I'm like, I'm not running 2 more miles just so I can get some music. But that's a great thing to have as a boost. When I saw Alec, my buddy who was doing the race again, after I turned around at halfway, that was a huge boost. When you stop seeing people go the opposite direction, the course is out and back. So you see people crossing you going the other way. But when you stop seeing those people go the other direction, that's a boost because you know no one else is going that way. And now in my mind, everyone's chasing me at this point. So there's several matches along the way. And then your pacers, man, at 62 miles. So from 62 to 87 miles, I had my buddy Justin. From 87 to the finish, I had another friend, Jenny, who helped me out. And talk about like matches right there. People just have conversation with and be with you. It gets pretty lonely out there, especially after halfway. A lot of people have dropped off at that point, dropped out of the race. Everyone's behind you. It really spreads out. At the beginning, man, you're surrounded by 800 people with your headlamp on, and it's exhilarating. But at 70, you're the only person for 15 minutes on the course before the next person comes. And so that's like, it gets lonely, and you're looking for those matches all over the place.
Okay, I got a million questions, and I got to kind of narrow it down here. So there was 55 people. 55 people that beat you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about the 600 or 744 that you beat. What's the difference between them and you?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot of things, I'm sure. Experience level is huge in this kind of world. To have the goal that I had to going into this was really ambitious and something I had full confidence in myself and my coach in. But anyone on the outside, this is your first 100-mile race. It's Leadville, and you want to go sub 25 hours, like would have been like, hey, you might want to change that to something else. There's a group of probably 20 of those people that beat me, maybe 20 to 30 that are professionals that should beat me every day of the week. No chance.
Sure. No doubt.
There's a couple others that probably beat me because they had a smoother day, didn't throw up a couple times, were able to just move more efficiently than me that day. People who had trained harder, people who had more experience, people who were stronger mentally. I was with a guy leaving the last aid station. So we had a 12 and a half miles to go, probably 3 hours. We were just at the point where if we pushed really hard, we could maybe get under 24 hours in this race. We left this aid station together. He finished sub 24 hours. I finished just over 24 hours. There was a point in my head where I was like, if I don't run for 24 hours, I can't tell anyone I've run for 24 hours before, which is a silly thing to think, but it eased my mind of like, I don't have to kill myself in this next section to get sub 24. The goal was sub 25. I'm okay doing that. Let's get to that. But had I been a little bit stronger mentally, I probably could have pushed for that and stayed with this guy and gotten 3 spots higher. So yeah, there's like a lot of things: training, mental toughness, experience. Those are probably the big things as to why people finished ahead of me.
Okay, do you see how I shifted this from holy smokes, you ran for 24 plus hours and ran 100 miles to now, hey, you only finished 56th.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I want to get this back on the positive because it's an amazing feat. But what would 1 hour do for you? If you did it in 23 hours and 15 minutes, how many spots does that move you up?
That's a good question. I think it probably jumps you up to like the 30s or so.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So now let's go to pre-draft prep, anxiety, butterflies, just your whole routine. So let's start like 24 hours before.
Cool.
Okay, and you start having chemical changes in your body and in your mind, and you almost feel like you're there.
Yeah,
And you're if you're not careful, you can have energy evaporate before you even get to the starting line.
absolutely.
Right? Mental energy just wasted. So
Yeah.
what did you do? Obviously, you had a team, you had a plan,
Mm-hmm.
but what are some of the things that you did? What was your process that enabled you to show up at the finish or at the starting line with maximum energy?
For sure. I had several conversations with my coach about the week leading into the race, the 3 days leading into the race, the day before the race. How do we shape that? I think there was a big push before 24 hours out to visualize, hey, what's it going to feel like 24 hours out? You're going to have been in your taper where you've dropped off training for a couple weeks so that you have peak energy come race day. So Thursday, Friday that week, you're going to be ready to go and you're going to want to get out there. It's going to be hard to sleep because you have so much energy. What do you do to calm yourself in those moments? The 24 hours leading in were fairly planned out. I had been waking up super early all week, knowing that I'd have to be up early on race day and going to bed super early every night just to get my body in that routine of knowing when it's time for bed, knowing when to wake up. I've thought about the race for so long at this point that it's just getting bigger and bigger every day that you're there. So I was up in Leadville that day. We had a few athlete briefing meetings, had to go check in. I had my last meeting with my crew to hammer out the final details. And then we had a chill afternoon, sat out on the porch and ate dinner as the sun set, had a smoothie, was packing in as much food as I could to top off the energy stores. But it was really just about like, how can I stay present with the people I'm with? I turned my phone off, didn't look at anything on my phone. I had awesome people reach out to me before the race, but I chose not to look at that, just to be present, calm myself, take deep breaths, be outside, relax. So we had visualized it a lot, but keeping calm before that, like you said, you burn so much just thinking about the race. So trying to have conversations around other things besides the race before, but it had been planned out pretty well, and I think we executed that real nicely.
Okay, so I have some ideas about visualization. What was your process for visualization? What did it look like? Did you do it at certain times? Did you do it while you were training? Did you ever connect the emotion of the race to the race, or was it more of a physical process?
Yeah, no, we certainly connected the emotional side. During the race, I would be visualizing the finish line and start throat constricting, tears in my eyes start forming. I've been thinking about the finish for so long, but now the race is happening. I'm 20 miles into the race and I'm starting to get emotional about the finish line. It's like, whoa, Kev, dude, you got to chill out. You've got 80 miles to go before then. Like,
Yeah.
don't burn
Yeah.
this match yet.
Yeah.
It's great to dig into that well at some point, but it was not the time to do it 20 miles in. But during training, it was a lot of, I did all of my long runs. So 2 days a week I would spend on the course of Leadville, and I'd visualize and do different parts of the course at the times of day that I thought I'd be on it during the race. So I'd know, hey, this is what it's like to run from bright in the day, sunset to dark at night, and get that process in. And this is the part of the course I'll be on. So I had worked through that with my pacers a lot. I'd done both sections with my pacers already before the race so that we'd know what it's like together to get to certain points, at how fast we wanted to get there, where we thought we could push, where we needed to chill out. Talking with my coach, we'd sit down and go through the whole day, start to finish. I'd tell him what I thought I needed, and he'd say, "Hey, Kev, did you forget about this? We need to make sure that you have, your sunscreen at the first aid station." "Oh, I didn't even think about that. Let me add that to the list." So it was a lot of conversations, visualizing things. It was a lot of in training, just picturing myself in that moment during the race. But then when the race came, it was like, okay, how can I not think forward and just be here, be present, and enjoy what's happening now, and let the process of going into that pain cave, coming out of that pain cave, feeling good, feeling bad, experience all of those emotions in a real way instead of only thinking about the finish throughout the day.
Let's expand on this pain cave.
Yeah.
I talk about with Pro Mindset that in anticipation of the event, you want to create a performance container. And in that performance container, you want to bring everything that's for you with you, and everything that's not, you leave it out.
Yep.
And the athlete gets to decide what comes in and what doesn't. And that allows the athlete to be in total positivity, because any like doubts, fears, preconceived notions that are negative, something somebody, one of your homeboys might have said, "Man, are you crazy? Do you really need to do this?"
Yeah.
It's like, "Hey, we're going camping, we're doing this. Why can't you come?" It's like, "Well, I'm training, I'm getting ready for this thing."
Yeah.
What does the pain cave be more expansive about what that means? Because anybody that's run more than a mile knows what pain is. At least I do. If I run a couple of miles, I know what pain is. But it's like, what does that mean in an ultramarathoner world?
For sure. I think it could be different for a lot of people. For me, the pain cave is when me physically smiling, trying to make myself happy doesn't work. When the people around me being happy, encouraging me doesn't do anything to me. That's the pain cave of I'm just in the rut, this stinks, this is hard. Sometimes I wish I'd never done this. Why am I doing this? Those questions. And that's where it's so great. I had an incredible team of people supporting me there, an incredible team of people encouraging me throughout training, throughout the race. When you're in the pain cave, it's almost you're almost by yourself. Those external sources kind of come out of the tunnel vision, and you lock in, which is hard because you rely on those other people so much to give you the positivity, give you energy, give you whatever. And now you have to do this for yourself. These people can't do it anymore for you. You have to decide how you respond in this pain cave. I had just thrown up a couple times. We were going up a nasty climb, and that's when it hit me of just like, I need this to be over. We had 4.5 hours left to go. It's a long time to sit in that pain cave. I think we were really I think I was only really in the pain cave for an hour and a half or so before I got to hey, we're actually going to do this and we're close. But that hour and a half to 2 hours was hard. I came into that last aid station, and if you ask any of my crew, they'd say the same thing. I was very positive in every other aid station except for the last one. I got into that. My buddy asked me, "What do you need?" I say, "I need this to be over. I'm done. Like this, I know I'm not going to quit, but I need it to be done. Like, we got to get out of here." So the pain cave is like such a unique spot because you go into it alone and you can chisel away at the different caves and different things in it. And it's only in those moments of, I've been pushed so much by myself, I've been pushed so much from other people, that now that encouragement, not that it's not needed, but it's not doing anything for me in this moment. How do I respond because I'm the only one in here?
Okay, during that pain cave experience, what was your biggest obstacle? You personally. For different people, it's different things. For me, it would be the temptation to quit. It would be this little voice going, "Oh, bro, you've gone 90. Nobody's going to dog you for going 90. Do you really need to go to 100?
Yeah.
When I cold plunge, I have those thoughts sometimes.
Absolutely, man. And nobody cares that I went sub 25. If I had finished in 26 hours or 27 or 28 hours, did 100 miles, that's great. Nobody really cares about that time other than me. So the obstacle is yourself in a lot of ways. You tell yourself those temptations, those things of, hey, I could stop and be done with it. But I think so much of the preparation and going before the race, knowing that, hey, when the pain cave hits, here's the mantras, here's the things I'm going to repeat to myself. Here's just the idea that no matter what, I'm going to keep moving. Relentless forward motion. I will always move forward. If I get to an aid station, I'm never quitting in the aid station. So that means I'd have to quit on course. And if I'm going to be on course, I might as well go to the next aid station. So there's just like little tricks in my head of, hey, you can get past this. You can't quit right here. You got to quit at the next aid station. But when you get to the next aid station, you've got your whole crew there. They're expecting you to finish. You're well ahead of your predicted time. Why would you quit now? And you get this like boost of, okay, I could do this. Now, 10 minutes later, you might be back in the, man, I should have quit back there. But at this point, I might as well go to the next one. And so you can like tell yourself those tricks to get past it. But the obstacle is yourself in that moment. The pain cave it's all about you. You can get yourself out of it, or you can peel over and take off, take the easy road. And that's exactly why I like doing these things, because it's in those moments of, it's just me. This is my choice to keep going or to stop. Who am I? Am I someone who's going to keep pushing and keep going? Am I going to stop?
What was your biggest physical challenge? I mean, you obviously probably had to take different sets of clothes and shoes. You ran through water. You did stuff like that. I mean, what was the biggest physical challenge? Your body we all have a weak link. It shows, just to digress for a moment. When you go into a fire, you're either purified or you're burned. So wood is burned, but gold is purified. And the longer you stay in the fire for gold, the more pure it is, the more valuable it is. So when you put your body through this fire, so to speak, what part of it struggled the most? Because it was trying to decide whether it was wood or gold.
I love that analogy. That's really cool. I trained everything I needed to so well in my mind. And my coach had told me, I don't think there's anything that you're missing that we did in training. There's nothing I wish we would have done in training leading into this. And maybe that's coach talk for, hey, we're 2 days out and this is only going to help you. And I can't say the things I actually wanted you to do. But I really think he meant it, because we had done so much vertical climbing. That's probably the physical part of the race that's the most difficult. So halfway, bear with me on this. You get to halfway and you turn around right before halfway. So starting at like 44 miles or so, 43 miles, you start climbing up what's called Hope Pass. Hope Pass goes up and down to halfway, and then you turn around and you do Hope Pass again, up and down, back the other direction. Climbing, and I'm going to get the numbers probably wrong on this, but it's like 2,500 feet over a little more than 2 miles on the front side, and then 2,000 feet, a little less than 2 miles on the back side. So you're doing a lot of vertical climbing, straight up. Your heels aren't touching the ground. You're on your toes the whole time, and it's just exhausting. You get to halfway, and you realize you have to do it again. So you turn around and you go immediately start climbing again. So that second time up Hope Pass, it's slow. It was in the heat of the afternoon. You're hot, you're exhausted, you're not moving fast. Nobody's really moving fast around you. So it's just mentally draining. But you get to the top of that and you can see all the way back up to Leadville. And you can see a lot of the course in front of you. And you get to go downhill now for a little bit. And just get revitalized in that moment. That's physically the hardest part. But I think mentally it's when you get into the pain cave. And I think a lot of people get into that cave a bunch of times during the race. They could be in it 30 miles into the race. I was lucky enough to push that off. I love being in the pain cave, but I didn't feel like I was really in that cave until 84 miles or so. But physically, Hope Pass up and down twice, just absolutely brutal.
They should call that Hope Pass a different name on the way back. Depending on which direction you're going, it has a different name. So
Absolutely.
you're hoping it, on the front end, but after you conquer it, it should be like Conquer Pass on the way back.
So they've got an aid station there right below the pass that's called Hopeless Aid Station. So you've got the contrast of hope and hopeless up there. But I like that. Conquer, hope. Yeah, that's good.
You're hoping to do it, and then once you've done it, you've conquered it.
Conquered it. Yeah.
Okay, so pro mindset is a lot about identity too, and our stories, our narrative, our purpose, being connected to our purpose really kind of defines who we are.
Yeah.
Who are you today that you weren't, pre-race, 6 months ago, 3 months ago? Because you're not the same guy. You don't have the same experiences. You've gone through this. You've got to be an adrenaline junkie for doing these kinds of things. So you're not the same. You're better for it. So describe, what is that? Share with us what it is.
Yeah, well, I wasn't a 100-mile finisher 6 months ago, so now I can say I'm a 100-mile finisher, which I love. I think I don't remember her name. The women's basketball coach at Duke had a great talk about this. I'm someone who can handle hard better now. Hard things happen in our life all the time, and you can either choose to learn how to handle that hard better, or let that hard handle you, and then you don't learn from it. So from before the race to now and going forward into hard things, I'm someone who can handle those things better. I still am a child of God, number one. Easy. That's locked in. I still am hopefully a good friend and a good son and a good brother and those things. But the part that continues to grow is I'm someone who handles the hard situations better. Hard is hard. Hard is not bad. That line changed my life several years ago. When hard things happen, it's not bad. It's just hard. How do you deal with that? Hard is hard. Hard is not bad. So I'm someone who can handle the hard things better and define myself in those moments as someone who won't quit, won't give up, will push through, will continue, will not give up the dream, all of those things.
Well, let me just take a guess, or let me cast a vision.
Come on.
I think it will help your family. I think it'll help your kids down the road. Yeah. I think it's going to help you in your career, your professional career, to see things differently than your peers. And when they see no way through, you'll see the way through.
Yeah,
you'll be the guy that can be an amazing problem solver, because you can deal with hard.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, like I said, this is great for like the physical. I've done something big physically. I did 100 miles. That's awesome. But am I getting into my Bible every morning? Am I investing in relationships, friendships, and other relationships otherwise? Like, am I doing the small daily decisions to move those things forward? And I'm someone who will do those more consistently now than maybe I would have used to before now.
Okay, so for those single girls out there that are looking for an eligible bachelor, man, you might want to put your cell number in the show notes for this podcast. You never know, Kevin. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to help a brother out here.
I appreciate it.
You're an awesome dude. I want to thank you for being on today. I really enjoyed the conversation. Is there anything you'd like to add that perhaps I didn't ask that you were hoping I would ask you?
No, man. I think just the thing that I would say, I had the best support crew out there. And that was a huge piece of this, not just in training or not just even at the race, but throughout training, the whole course of it. I would have the conversation of, why do you do this all the time? But it would never end with, dang, like, well, see you later. It was always, I'm rooting for you. I'm on your team. Like, go get it. You got this. And so to all of those people, I can't thank them enough. There were so many people who showed up. You were saying like people who are up at 4 a.m. It's the people who are out at the bars or getting up super early for work. It was also a huge chunk of people at this race to come support me, which I am like so grateful for. The announcer, when I crossed the finish line, I won't forget this. And I try to like set my ego aside on this. Like she said, there's a whole lot of people up at 4 a.m. for you, Kevin. Like you've done something right. And it makes me so grateful for the relationships, the friends that I have in life, that they cared enough to wake up at 3 a.m. to drive there, or 2 a.m, or fly in from different states to be there. So I just want to say thank you to those people, because I couldn't have done this without them. It's a team race. I crossed the finish line, sure, but they all crossed with me. And that was a beautiful moment I'll cherish forever.
That is awesome, Kevin. That's awesome. You're a super dude, man. I appreciate you. I want to thank you for being on Pro Mindset. Wish you nothing but the best. Kevin just took a job with the U.S. Olympic Committee, so he's going to be jet setting all around the world, making an impact on. You're going to be a part of the U.S. Olympic team, supporting the athletes in various ways to help them achieve their goals, like you did yours.
Yep, absolutely. That's the dream, man. Pushing other people to do what they love.
Hang with us for a second. Jose, man, you there? There he is, baby.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Pro Mindset Podcast. If you liked our podcast, please subscribe and review our show and tell your friends. We can be found on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Pro Mindset Podcast, or on our website at promindsetpodcast.com. Thank you for listening.